So I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina, and was there until I came to Berea in 2009. And basically, growing up in Greenville, there was racism. There were things of that sort going on. Um, but my high school that I went to was really diverse. Growing up in the city and having to come here to Berea was like a big shock culturally. Not seeing as many people that look like me and being in a smaller town was definitely a shock. But it was my ninth grade English teacher, along with the school librarian, who really pushed me and said, you know, you really need to apply. As I came into the community, one of the things that would always make me nervous was being outside of the college campus. But I do recall a time being a student at Berea. I was education studies major, and a part of the education studies major requires students to have a cultural experience. So this group and cohort, we went to the Navajo reservation in Arizona, and we drove there the entire way. So I remember coming back from the Navajo reservation, and one of the college vans broke down, and we were having trouble getting it to start. And so the professor, who's still at Berea, she worked to get the college to get us an enterprise vehicle. But so we went ahead with a brand new vehicle right off the lot, no paper tag, and so we got to start traveling on the road, and we were in Texas. I remember being in between the minivan and the big 12 passenger van, and I was going about 76 miles an hour, and we were obviously following the speed limit. And I saw a state trooper on the other side of the road, not sitting, but just driving. He was actually on the highway. And I saw him make a U-turn. And so he made a U-turn, and he started to come towards where we were. And in that vehicle was myself and three other classmates, and I was the only African American. Everyone else was white in the vehicle. And I had a ball cap on. So I guess that was enough suspicion for the officer. So he turned around and he had to squeeze. I remember it like yesterday. He had to slow down and squeeze in between the 12 passenger van and where I was. And he turned his lights on and obviously pulled me over. And when he did that, he said, "Do you know why I'm stopping you?" And I said, "No, sir, I don't." And it immediately turned from "why I'm stopping you" to "where you been? Where are you all going? What are you doing? Can you step out of the vehicle?" So I'm obviously nervous. The professor, she pulls over and she approaches. It starts to get tense. The trooper starts to scream, "Ma'am, get back in your car. Don't come this way. Get back in your car." She's trying to explain that we're all together. He didn't want to hear that, so he sent her, back to her car, and she did that. So as I'm stepping out of the car, the trooper goes to the other side of the car, and he starts to ask the passenger the same questions that he asked me. I could hear him, and he was trying to see if there was a lie or if somehow we were, not telling the truth. And at that time, I didn't know my rights in terms of what I could agree to and not. And he actually pulled a drug dog out on me. So I knew that I had automatically been stereotyped. He assumed that we had drugs. He saw the paper tag, and it could have ended a lot worse. And so once he pulled the drug dog out and he realized that we were all traveling, all three vans were traveling together, he immediately came back and said, "Well, I'm just going to give you a warning." And he gave me the warning and took off. And what that was for many of my classmates was a wake-up call. Many of them just thought, "Wow, we just experienced this. We know you were not speeding, and we saw it for our own eyes." So I think feeling powerless and not knowing what to do would be how I felt in that moment. Also thinking about, wow, just because of the color of my skin, I was targeted. I can't even travel across the highway. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't breaking any laws. And so this thought of, if you just do what you're supposed to do, you won't get in trouble, it's not true. I really have had instances just like that one where I'm singled out, and it's not because I've done anything. So when I think about my son and fatherhood, I absolutely love it. It's a joy. I enjoy it. There is this thought, though, constantly in the back of my mind that, as a raising an African American male in the U.S., the world's not going to give him any breaks. One of the joys that I have of watching him right now is that he just loves. He loves without care. So it doesn't matter what you look like, who you look like, and he's been that way since he was a baby. Really, if there was more love in our world, where we learn to love each other, and we learn that it doesn't matter where you come from, I'm not going to judge you, but I'm going to accept you, I'm going to learn who you are, I'm going to be at your table. I think that's really what our world needs.